Yesterday, I spent the better part of the day trying to get information about some changes that are happening here in my community. And, I called all the appropriate offices. These are agencies that are available to the public that exist for people to be able to access and inquire and obtain information. And talking about like the county judge executive's office, the conservation office, PVA. And so I contacted these offices and I spoke to people in a very cooperative, kind, and inquiring way. And I never could get the information that I was trying to get about some land development that's happening out near where I live. And the thing that I really noticed, kind of beyond the just technical information I was trying to get, was more the spiritual information that I was getting. And when you talk to people and you're in that space of awareness where you can glean from them how they're doing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and often physically, because I think it all eventually shows up in the manifested physical health of a person. You get a sense of like right now, it's bright and sunny. And in spiritual terms, we can refer to the light as being the presence of love, like a loving presence, the divine presence. And then when something covers over and diminishes or blocks a certain amount of that light from reaching us, like clouds and different times of day, then things get dark and dim and cool. And so when you're interacting with people, you can sense that brightness and that warmth, or you can sense the darkness and the chill. And so yesterday, as I interacted with different people, trying to get the information I was looking for, I experienced different degrees of that light and dark and warm and cool responses from people. And some of the warm responses were people who shared a lot of my own heart about this community, and they expressed equal concern or similar concern for some of the development that they're seeing take place that nobody even understands. We don't even know how it's happening, if there's any oversight or concern for the natural terrain, like the watersheds, the wildlife, what's going into create landfills that kind of builds up the land up to road level, because there is a lot of dumping having to go into this hill and this holler. And so people expressing that concern, and also talking about how much they love this area and they love the community and they love the people here, and equally carry concern over what is clearly a decline in caring about the way our community appears. So rundown buildings, burned out residences, and no follow-up action, fields that aren't maintained, fences when we're out, talking about out in the farmlands, and farms that are basically just being abandoned for whatever reasons. I don't even know a lot of the reasons. And then when commercial structures go in, there's really no thought that goes into the aesthetics of where they go up or how they go up or what they look like or what type of business they are. And then a lot of businesses that get, about 2 years ago, we had a massive flood here, unprecedented flood. And a lot of businesses that were flooded are now just abandoned and they're just left. And then it appears as though at higher ground, some people are taking advantage of trying to, I think, develop land so that the commercial businesses can just go to higher ground and set up shop and do what they do. I'm getting off topic. So there are the people who share those concerns, and they're concerned about the community, they're concerned about the decline, they're concerned about the leadership because of what feels like such an attitude of nobody's going to tell anybody what they can and cannot do with land that they own. Now, I kind of share that sentiment in a lot of ways. I'm not a big fan of governments coming in and creating laws and ordinances that restrict property owners from and that dictate to property owners what they can and cannot do on the privacy of their own land. So I'm kind of in that camp in a lot of ways. Here's the thing I notice, though, is that if you have a loving spirit, so that bright, more sunny, loving disposition, then in my understanding, if love is what is kind of dictating and guiding you and is your governing authority, you wouldn't need a law to tell you what you can and cannot do, because the law would be written in here, like in your spirit, in your heart, in your soul. And so even if you own land and can do whatever you want with your land, there are going to just be certain things that you wouldn't want to do without at least consulting with your neighbors, the people who own the lands that surround your lands. You wouldn't want to just go in and carve up the land without considering what that means to the environment, what it means to the other creatures living there, what it means to the watershed, what it means to the timberlines. And so not to pass judgment, but to simply pose the question of, when you operate as part of the community, especially if you are in a position of leadership within a community, how sunny is your sky? How bright is your own spirit? Or are you closed off and covered with clouds of distrust and defensiveness and abrasiveness? Because one of the things that I heard repeatedly was, we don't want zoning here, we don't have zoning here, and we don't want anybody telling us what we can and cannot do with your land. You own the land, you can do what you want with your land. Variations on that theme. And I adopt a persona that kind of matches the attitude that met me. It was hostile, and it was defensive, and it was abrasive. And so it felt like the light was blocked. Instead of my inquiries being met with inquiries. Well, what are your concerns? Oh, I can understand your concern. And so why am I making a recording about this? I'm not even sure. I guess I just am feeling in my heart that a lot of the decline that I'm sensing in my own community where I grew up and where I've spent more than half my life, because I have lived other places and I have seen places that have some planning and some zoning and different styles of leadership that is more community oriented and less individual, protect the rights of the individual. Because what is a community? It's individuals living in harmony with each other, not in isolation and siloed existence where just because I can, I'm gonna, and I'm not gonna give any concern for what it means to anybody else. I guess I'm putting it out there because I just feel that we need to invite more light back into our lives as leaders and as members of communities. We need more love. We need more light. And I want to help foster that. Have a good day.